Cold Blood, Part 1.
Your life? It wasn't that bad. Your job? At least you're not starving. You live on your own because you're an orphan and you didn't hate that fact. Well, probably since you can't really do anything about it. You are pretty much satisfied with your life, but there's one thing that you hated the most, and that is working overtime. It's not that you didn't like working overtime, but because since you work the night shift, you usually come home around 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. So when they ask you to work overtime, you will end up coming home around 1 a.m. or sometimes even 3 a.m. And of course, everyone will know that around that time, they will always have the craziest people hanging around the street, especially where you live. A darn ghetto little town isn't suited for such a young woman like you, but saying as if you got any other choices. That dark and ghetto little apartment is the only place you can afford, at least for the time being. Today, you clocked out at 2:30 a.m. and finally left to go home. Sucks having such bad omens. You forgot your umbrella and it's raining like cats and dogs outside. You cover your head with your hood, but that didn't help you from getting soaked from the rain. You were also carrying a bag of mandarins given to you by one of your co-workers. Along the way to your apartment, there are bars and clubs that you usually have to pass through, and there will always be drunk, unemployed, and disgusting men wandering around. Sometimes even women too. Hey, sweetie! A drunken man beams at you as you walk past him. Ignoring him completely, you just keep walking. This isn't the first encounter you had with a drunken man. As you walk closer to your apartment, the door at one of your houses to your left flew open, and you could hear an old woman yelling her lungs out from inside the house. A man marched out violently as if he didn't see you. He then shoved you out of his way. His roughness causes the bag of mandarins to slip out of your hand, and they roll one by one down a dark alley. You cursed and flashed the man a glare. What kind of luck is this? The ground was wet due to the rain, so you didn't want to pick up the dirty mandarins. But since it was from one of your closest co-worker, you couldn't just leave it. Following the mandarin's trail down the dark alley, you picked them up one by one until you finally reached the last one. As you reached out your hand to pick it up, you caught something in the corner of your eyes. When turning your head to look, your eyebrows crashed together and you began to observe the distance. At the far distance, there was a man with his back facing you. He was dressed in black that if you didn't look closely, he would have looked invisible. He was kneeling on the ground with his head down to his chest. You are not sure what he was doing. Is he hurt? You lean back to see if you can see what he was doing, and that's when you notice another body lying down in front of him. What? Suddenly, the man turned his head towards your direction. You startled and quickly hid behind the wall. Without a second thought, you turned around to take your leave, but instead was welcomed by a gust of cold breeze, blowing off the hood covering your head. You shut your eyes from the cold breeze, and when you opened them again, there was a person standing right in front of you. Your eyes were at the same level as his chest, and your gaze made its way up to his dark soaked hair that was covering half of his white, pale face. His eyes were dark and his lips were the color of blood. You are not sure if he is the guy from just a minute ago, but whoever he is, he didn't look pleasant. You question if he's the guy that you just saw. How did he approach you so fast? You started breathing heavily from his dark eyes, glaring at you as if you were a different creature from him. While observing you, something caught his attention. His hand reached out towards you. You stay alert and keep your eyes on him the whole time. Immediately, you feel his hand gently touch the mandarin that you were holding. You blink your eyes in confusion. He grabbed the mandarin from your hand and then observed it closely. Is he after the mandarin? If he is, then he can take it and go, thinking to yourself. He glanced at you, and at that moment, you made eye contact with him. Something struck you and you noticed something about his eyes. The way he was looking at you felt like a pure, innocent child. He went back to observing the mandarin. Is he lost? He doesn't look like a bad person. The vibration of your cell phone startled him, and before you knew it, you were lifted off the ground and had your back slammed against the hard, cold wall. You grunted in pain as you felt his hand around your neck. You have learned how to defend yourself from danger, but in this case, you couldn't move a muscle. Your vision becomes blurry due to the lack of oxygen, but you notice that his eyes have changed into the color of pure, aqua blue. The pure, innocent person that you just saw was gone. This person showed no mercy, and danger was written all over his face. He leaned over to your neck and whispered in your ear, "You poor little soul." His breath was icy cold, and his words pierced through you like knives. He opened his mouth, and his sharp fangs grew